real slick here. Okay.
Ta-da. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather.
And I'm Tom.
Welcome to Sharespark TV.
This is the show that breaks down the impact of digital media on news, pop culture, and the world around you.
And Sharespark TV is a show streamed to Facebook Live every Tuesday, Thursday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yes, and one of the most important parts of this show, we're a new show. We're still building our audience. We're still helping you guys understand what it is that we're doing here. And a big part of that is the conversation and the dialogue. We're doing this live specifically so that we can get your feedback and your input in real time. So adding in those comments, asking questions, contributing, and helping to direct the conversation are all hugely important things.
Highly encouraged.
And highly encouraged. So throughout the next 50 or so minutes to an hour, we encourage you to participate as much as you want and offer as much as you want to contribute.
Yes. And today we are talking about a very sensitive subject, I think.
Yes, we are.
In my past year and a half of trying to Sharespark as many people as I can and helping them understand how they can use digital media to achieve meaningful goals, I think the most common hesitation that I've gotten is privacy. People feel like they have to give up their privacy in order to participate in using digital media and in consuming digital media. And what say you, Tom?
Okay, so privacy. This is a huge issue, and it is, like you just said, a massive barrier to someone who is interested or considering or just sort of curious about the idea of what it takes to participate in a digital world.
And it's really weird coming from me because I have a vlog where I put it all out there, so...
And I've always been more reserved, so I'm like... But I've always been more reserved, but going like, man, that looks like fun over there. Like, I wish I could participate in that party, but kind of being scared of like, hey, what's the deal? So hopefully that I can kind of offer like a relatable perspective in that regard in some way. Mm-hmm. Do you know we have a special guest tonight?
I did not know. Whoa!
So, we're talking about privacy. I like...
What is this?
This is my friend.
This is your friend?
Yeah, his name is Phantom. No, when we're talking about privacy, it's such a big term, and it's such a broad term, I wanted to find a concrete, identifiable example of a privacy concern. And right here in 2017, these guys in all shapes and sizes and brands and purposes represent massive privacy concerns and massive, opportunities for digital literacy engagement.
Yeah, see, okay, so for me, I don't know if it's because I don't know that many droners. Is that what you guys call yourselves?
If you're a drone owner or a droner, I guess so.
Droner. I probably only know one person, and he's a sixth grader, so he's like not flying this, that much. And I haven't seen that many, actually. So I don't know. Like this is a completely different world for me. I feel fine with them.
So here's the reason that I wanted to use these as an example. There's a story that's relevant because
how long have you been flying drones?
I've been flying drones for about 3 years.
Okay.
And initially, 3 years in drone terms is like an eternity. And so initially when they first came out, when they were way more dangerous, that you could just fly them into anything, and now they have all these sensors where they're pretty foolproof when you're flying them.
Okay.
But as time went on and people started to see what they could do, these massive privacy concerns took over.
Right. I remember that, like, you're flying over my backyard, you're flying...
Right.
And then there was, like, that one drone that had crashed over people.
Yeah, there's safety concerns and there are privacy concerns, and it gets a little muddy. And what I have found personally is the reaction is almost evenly 50-50 split.
Interesting.
So if you're out flying your drone, you get kind of hesitant because you're like, I want to fly this thing. I know I'm allowed to fly it here, but I know when someone walks up to me, there's a 50% chance that they're going to be like, what drone is that? How does it work? Can I see? And there's going to be a 50% chance that they're like, get away from here. You're not allowed to be here. And they're going to cite some laws that may or may not exist.
That's so interesting. It's kind of similar to people's reaction when they see my vlogging rig.
Right.
Like when I walk around, I would say it's half. Like people either laugh at me, mock me, but it's also And then the other half are like, wow, that's really cool. What are you doing? What is this for?
Right.
But no one's ever been like, oh my gosh, you like don't have me in it. But that's because the camera's like facing me. Now this is a completely different thing because, you're potentially filming them.
Right. And people don't understand them, and they forget that there's a human being on the other side of it. These are not like
robots.
I mean, you can program flight paths, but they're not, they don't have minds of their own. And so it gets so messy, and what I wanted to do was understand that better because, like, literally I didn't understand the literacy behind it. Mm-hmm. And so this last summer, I got my commercial drone license through the FAA, like the legit, you have to go take your test and you're a commercial drone pilot. Mm-hmm. And part of that was because I needed to use drones commercially for work, and I wanted to do it for fun too. But also because, like, I just didn't understand. And people show up and they give you these rules, and you're like, that doesn't sound like a law, but it could be a law. Like, what's the deal? And I wanted to understand for myself. So I went and got that. And that was like, that whole experience was so beneficial and so educational that I learned a lot, and it taught me a lot about the privacy concerns and where they're founded and where they're not founded with drones.
Interesting.
So a good example of that, I guess, would be, if you watch a lot of vlogs, having a drone is like if you did like the vlogger starter pack.
Yeah.
Like having a drone is kind of part of that.
Yeah.
But you see people, especially in places like New York or LA, where they're just flying them, like in between buildings and over landmarks and stuff. And all I think of is like, this is the most beautiful, super legal shot I've seen because you're not like those. Like, there are so many restrictions, and you have to know when you can and can't fly, and based on the weather and based on your location.
So, is there? You said that you have a license to fly this thing. Is there? Do you? When you buy this, do they check whether you have a license or not?
No, anybody can buy it. If they're, for a while, the FAA was saying if they're over half a pound and under 55 pounds, you had to register with them. But just a few months ago, that went away because people were like, the definition of what these are, some of them are pre-packaged, pre-produced, some are homemade, and it got really messy.
Got it.
But essentially, if you want to use any of your drone footage for a commercial purpose, mm-hmm. even if you're like, hey Tom, I'll give you a Coke if you like film some drone footage for me. I just did a commercial transaction. So technically, I would need that. If I put it on my YouTube channel, then I monetize the video. That would need a license. But
got it.
What it also helps you do is understand the privacy concerns, because these are fantastic tools, but they're misunderstood. And so people get really scared around them and really skittish around them, and that can be a bad thing. So take, for example, Canada. No offense, Canada. Canada, there are so many restrictions in the country of Canada for drone laws. Basically, you essentially can't fly a drone in Canada. You can't fly them within 5 miles of an airport, pretty standard. Can't fly them within 5 miles of a helipad. Basically, every skyscraper has a helipad on the top. So you can't fly them like in a city and around a city. You can't fly them over people. You can't fly them over locations where there might be animals.
Which is like all of Canada.
Yeah, the Canadian wilderness is teeming with wildlife. That's kind of why people are drawn to it.
Right.
And so almost any drone shots you see taken in Canada are likely illegal, because the technology was just misunderstood and then restricted.
Interesting.
And a lot of it comes from safety concerns, which are, there's a lot of, even these small ones are still kind of heavy. If it falls out of the sky, it can do some damage. But that's an educational issue. A lot of the privacy issues where people think, like, you're just going to look at my window and do these things. It's like, well, let's talk about that.
Okay, so let's talk about this, because I actually debated whether to get a drone. I decided to get my boosted board instead. But explain to people who have never known a droner, or they're scared of drones, what do you do with this footage as a droner yourself?
So
what are you trying to capture? So
essentially, 5 years ago, it was just like the only time you could get aerial footage was if you could afford a helicopter. And then suddenly these came out, and anybody, with $1,000 could get these crazy aerial shots. And that was just seeing that was enough. Just having a montage of aerial shots was amazing. But then it got overdone. Yeah. And then now they've found their way into being tools. So, think of a realtor. Like, you want to sell a house, you want to sell a property, you're going to, you can take all these photos of it, but being able to get an aerial shot that shows the house and the yard and the neighborhood is really, hugely beneficial. But that also might mean that the neighboring house, maybe some of their backyard's going to be in that photo. That's okay.
Sorry.
And they can also just be storytelling tools. Like that's they're tools to be used, but they're not tools. You know, just because you have a really nice circular saw in your garage doesn't mean every time you need to like hang a picture, you're like, gotta get out the circular saw and use it. Like every tool has its place. Every tool has its function. And these are the same thing. And the responsible usage of them, and people not just getting licenses for commercial purposes, but people getting licensed so that they understand the safety behind them, that's going to help them stick around to be used as tools. It's going to help the technology develop, and it's going to help people better understand what they are and aren't for. And yeah, 100%, there are always going to be people who are going to misuse them, but that's true for literally anything.
Right. And the reason why we're bringing this up is because I saw a story about a new pocket-sized drone.
Yeah, so you're saying like you were thinking of getting a drone, and like this is big. Like this is
like a
This is bigger.
Like you need training. Like that's this is a thing.
You can't throw this in your bag and like maybe I won't use it. So what you could throw in your bag though is something about the size of this.
Yeah.
And so there's a new product that was announced. It was a crowdsourced product. And basically, it's just like a phone case, sticks on your phone. So it's about the size of an iPhone. This is an iPhone 6, so it's about that size. Sticks on the back, and inside is a little drone. And you pull it out, throw it up, and it's called an air selfie.
Yep.
And it goes, you control it with your phone, take some photos, get it back, pop it in the case, and you're on your way.
Yep. And it's light enough, right? Small enough for you to fly it.
It weighs well under half a pound, so it's not under any kind of...
So anyone can fly it anywhere.
It's essentially considered a toy. But it has some kind of HD camera inside of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, people are going to check. If I go into, like, a nightclub or something, and I'm like, hey, they're going to be like, yeah, you can't bring that in here. People are just going to see that case, and it's going to look like a phone case with a battery in it, and you could be anywhere and just throw it up. Like, hey, I'm in the middle of church. Bam. Like, drone communion. And
people are using... And people are using it to take, like, group selfies. So that everybody can be in the picture. You don't have to have a tripod and set that up. It's like you just have like the perfect eye level angle pointing towards your group. You take the selfie, pack it up, and you're done.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the goal. And like,
so the reason though is that like because you said that there's been a lot of fear.
There's been a lot of fear
to this, and people having, especially like when it's not in your control, and you see a drone, it's flying over your house or whatever. It's like, you know, why are you flying over my house?
You don't know where the range of these big ones is crazy. It can be like over a mile or more.
Yeah.
So someone can be really far away. You don't know who's on the other end controlling it. But these are big. This is big. The controller is almost just as big. It's this whole thing. A little phone and a small thing. Like it's almost like if you remember when smartphones smartphones came out, or even cell phone cameras started getting really good, and it was suddenly like, well, people are going to be taking pictures in bathrooms and changing rooms and public places all the time.
Yeah.
And not that never has happened, but that's not really a huge concern that people have anymore when they buy their phone, because everyone kind of realized like, yeah, some weirdos are going to do weird stuff, but you know, that's not a reason to limit or hurt the technology and the tool that you have.
And then, okay, so the first time that you came to Long Beach, actually, to meet up with me, you brought this guy. Not this guy.
I brought mine, which is a different one.
Yeah. And we want to talk about the lighthouse?
Yeah, so this is why... So this is to start off our conversation about privacy and technology. And so we were in Long Beach, came out to visit, and I was like, man, I really want to take some, like, cliche drone, like, water shots, and just, I live in the desert. It was really nice to be out on the beach and just have this beautiful scenery. And so we were walking around. It was early in the morning, like a beautiful day, and I had my stuff, and there was no one around except this one guy. And you were live streaming the whole thing on your YouTube channel. So
yes, I had my cell phone going.
Your phone, which is like... Why do they even call it a phone anymore? And you're live streaming the whole thing to the entire world. Whoever wants to see it. And we're walking around. We're hanging out. We're like skateboarding around.
Yeah.
And then pull out drone. I was kind of nervous because there was this guy watching us. And he was sort of like kind of coming close, kind of not. And I was like, this is that 50% thing. He's either going to be like into it or he's going to be, you got to get out of here. You can't fly that here. And I was trying to figure out like, what do we do? So pull out the drone, start setting it up. He saw it. He comes over and he's like, what kind is that? And I was telling him about it. He was like, oh. I fly mine all the time around like these areas over here, and I've gotten these really good shots. And
yeah,
I was
have
like,
you been here? And like,
you fly a drone, that's really cool. And then out of his backpack, he pulls this exact model, and he's like, I have mine with me right now. Like, I'm going to also fly it and get some shots. And I was like, oh, you were doing the same thing I was, where you were just scared of what we were going to do and we were scared of what you were going to do. But the point was, suddenly we were sitting there and we're outside on this like beautiful Long Beach morning. You're using a pocket computer to broadcast the event to anybody in the entire world in real time who wanted to participate. And two of us are just flying these ultra high definition cameras, getting this beautiful, and we just looked at each other, and we had ridden our electric skateboards there, and like we were just like,
it was like the most awesome moment ever.
We were just like, this is the time to be alive. Like, it helped us connect with a total stranger. It was helping us connect with a broader audience. It was helping us enjoy our morning. It was we were outside having fun. It was like, this is like the beauty of the world that we live in.
And then there was people who were like, wow, Long Beach is so beautiful, that were in other countries even.
Yeah.
I was showing them how Tom was launching his drone up and everything, and it just was so cool that it was fun hanging out with you, but it was cool that we were also able to connect with people like all over.
You just have an appreciation for what's possible now that has never been possible before and wasn't even possible a few years ago.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's where it's like, okay, yeah, it kind of feels weird at first when you're like, hey, here's my phone and anyone anywhere could watch this. But you're like, okay, but
I know. I see this. This is what I have trouble with, because people are like, "How do I handle live streaming?" And I'm like,
and you just go.
I can't explain it. You just come on the stream with
Nobody
me.
is going to reach out of here and be like, "I got your wallet."
Yeah.
Like that's not going to happen. Someone might be like, negative comment, and you're like, "Oh, that's a bummer." And so that's kind of I guess that's my way of just giving an example of a technology that has enormous potential for good, enormous potential for progress, but also elicits an enormous response for privacy concerns.
Yes.
And safety concerns. And so, and people see these things and they're like, I don't want those because they're going to be tracking me. They're going to be like following me around and watching every single thing I do.
Every single move I
make. And it was like,
and
that's like, this might be a bit anecdotal, but like, honestly, if you're in my drone shot, you're probably more in the way than, like, me tracking you. It's probably more like, I gotta wait for this person to get out of the way, and then I get the shot that I want. When we're talking about actually things that are tracking you and following you around, this kind of isn't super the thing we're talking about.
Because it's kind of, at the end of the day, it's a camera.
It's a camera. It's a flying camera. That's what it says on the box.
If someone were like, if I was taking a picture and someone happens to be standing in the background, I'm not taking a picture, you're in the picture, but you're... like, you are not the subject of the shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's kind of, with the drone shot, it's like the person can add to the shot or, like you said, be in the way, and you want them to go out of it because you want that nice, clear aerial footage with no people in it. But it's not, I mean, most people are not using it to track one specific person.
No, they are not. But some people do track people.
Yes.
And they don't have to use drones. They get to use... the internet.
The internet.
So, shifting gears a little bit here.
Yes.
How I don't want to be tracked online. I don't want them to know what I'm doing. It's so scary. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Help me.
Yeah. Okay. So people are scared. Well, see, this is funny because there's so many people. Like, we were the first users of Facebook. College students.
Yeah. You had to have your college email address to sign up.
And then I would say that everyone older than us thought it was a fad. Did not take Facebook seriously.
Yeah, especially there was a big MySpace, Facebook migration.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, eh.
But now, like, grandparents have a Facebook.
Yeah, they
How did they make that leap, do you think? Because I think, to me, like, privacy has always been the issue since day one. Like, why would I want to put myself out there? Why do I need to upload a profile picture? Why do I need to tell people where I live? Or, like, what city I'm in? And, why do I need to connect with people?
So, it's the last part there. It's why do you need to connect with people? Okay, so go sit in your house and don't. Like, I mean, think about it. Like, people go completely insane. Like, I was just telling you, I know I'm 3 years late to the party, but I saw Interstellar like 2 days ago for the first time. And I'm not going to give any spoilers, but to go into Interstellar, there's a point where they deal with time dilation. They go down to this planet where every hour is 7 years on Earth. There's some catastrophes, and they end up being down there for what is 23 years. Mm-hmm. The whole time they're waiting, there's the dude that's waiting up in the ship for them, and they come back, and they're like, how long has it been? It's been, 2.5 hours. And he's like, it's been 23 years, and I've been alone in the ship for 23 years. And they kind of gloss over it, and I was like, oh my God, like, how is this guy, like...
in complete isolation.
How is, like, he must be the most traumatized human being in the history of human beings to just be alone in isolation in space for 23 years. Because people go crazy in isolation. Even introverts and people who don't need tons of human engagement or whatever, like, everybody needs a little bit. And oftentimes, and I know this is super true for myself, you find yourself in the world with which you're presented. This is your world, and maybe it's awesome and you connect with everyone around you, but maybe you're a super outsider and you don't connect with everyone around you. And up until recently, you're stuck.
That was like me.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah. Okay, so we know that, because we are Sharespark, right? We know that our entire internet behavior on your phone, on your browsers, on your social media platforms that you use, all of your behavior is tracked. Everything that you like, that you comment on, that you search, that you tag, anything that you ever click on or tap or whatever, all of that is tracked. Now, so is that weird?
Well, so what ends up happening is people go like, I don't like drones. I want them out of here. I don't want something tracking me. I'm gonna go talk about that on Facebook. And you're like, guy. Like, if you don't want something tracking you, but here's the thing: like, why on earth would Facebook track everything about you?
Right. So I think the what we want to do is try to explain like why data is tracked and how is that data used. Because I feel like when you have a better understanding of that, then I don't know. I think there's like a sense of maybe comfort that you can build.
Yeah, well, a sense of understanding.
Yeah.
It's just like with drones, where you understand what they are and what they represent and what they don't.
Right. And so for a majority of social media platforms and search engines, what all of your behavior is tracked, but really what that does is these companies are just collecting all of the data so that they can really give it to advertising companies. That's one. So that they can better show you targeted ads. So if you do a search for like shoes and you open up another browser or you open up Facebook, you're going to see more shoe ads. That's targeted advertising. On the other hand, platforms want data on how they can make their platforms better and better optimize their platforms so that you spend more time on there, which is kind of weird because it's like, that's where you can start talking about like social media addiction, and they're completely optimized for us to never put our stuff down. But also like, I don't know. I don't feel like, I know this is so weird coming from me because I'm always on digital media, but I really don't feel like I'm social media addicted.
Well, I mean, that's a whole...
I can seriously, I can turn it off. I really can.
That's an issue of balance, which we're going to get into on Thursday's show. We're going to discuss that. We hit on it a little bit last week. We're going to talk about it more on Thursday. Mm-hmm. But it really is like, okay, I'm not super crazy about the idea of like, yeah, it's cool for all my info to be used for some corporation to make a ton of profit, but it's also not nefarious or malicious. It's just like, instead of seeing an ad for feminine hygiene products, I'm going to see an ad for an electric skateboard. And that's more relevant to my interests.
That's why I appreciate it. Because, I know it's, shady. If I was searching those heels on whatever site, and then I close it because I was like, I'm on a budget, and then I see it on Facebook, and then, okay, I'm probably going to click on it, look at it again, maybe buy it. I don't mind that. I'd rather see ads that are relevant to me and stuff that I'm interested in versus something that I just what is this? Why am I seeing this?
Well, I just have my own internal ad blocker where when you're scrolling through, you see them. I just block them out. I don't even see them. I know you can obviously install ad blockers on your browsers and stuff, but I don't even see that stuff. And what they're tracking isn't, this is Tom Buck and he likes this and this and this and he eats dinner at this time and he does this here.
Yeah.
What they're tracking is, this is a white male between the ages of 24 and 36, and he's most active between these hours, and he's most active between that. So let's compare him with other people in the demographic. So if we want to hit this audience here, this is what we need to do. And if we want to sell the ability to reach this audience, we're going to, this is how we could bundle it or sell it to potential advertisers.
Yes, and it's like top 3 sites that he visits are this is what he usually searches, these are his hobbies, this is what he spends time online doing.
But it's not so much tracking
you as an individual.
As an individual. This is Tom's bank account. This is his social security. This is his...
Like... No, that's not to say that people don't have access to tracking you individually.
Yeah.
But I don't...
But it's this whole thing where, like, people do bad stuff. And people hack companies, and your credit card information gets stolen, and, you know, that kind of stuff happens. Mm-hmm. And that's unfortunate. But... deciding that you're like, I'm against all digital media or social media or whatever because of that is kind of the equivalent of going like, well, I don't want to live in a house because someone could break into it. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, that sucks. And that's not okay. But like, that's not most people.
Right.
Like that is an exception where somebody goes rogue and does something illegal. And when people do those kinds of things, that's massively illegal. And it's not okay. It's hugely violating, but it's, you know, you still drive in a car even though car accidents are a leading cause of death.
Right. And I mean, okay, like I'll be the first to admit this is how I feel and this is what I think, being a very active user of digital media and a creator of digital media and someone who puts themselves out there and someone who's been an early adopter. Like that, this is my perspective on how I see it. I understand where people are coming from in terms of maintaining their privacy and they don't want stuff out there. I know that California, there was a bill that did not end up getting voted on that had to do with increasing privacy restrictions or restricting companies who wanted to do more targeted ads and like restricting that. That didn't end up going further. So I know it is a big concern, but I want to know what you guys think. Like, we want to know what you think. If you're tuning in right now, how do you feel about this? Like, do you know that your internet behavior, your behavior on Facebook, which is the platform that you're watching us on, do you know that Facebook knows when you are watching this stream? They know what time you came onto the stream, and they know every single thing that's in your news feed that you look at. It even will track like how much time you spend on something, even if you don't tap it or open it. It'll be like, okay, this person saw this for 5 seconds. I know that because I see it as an advertiser. Like,
and how do you feel about that as a barrier to participating or not participating in social media, or not social media, but just digital media in general? Because you're going back to like creating content for something like YouTube, where you're like, okay, I'm going to share my life here. It's one thing to be in a studio where it's kind of made to be shown, but it's another to be in your house where you're like, this is also where I eat my meals, but now the whole world can see it, and you know, those kinds of feelings of sharing and why you would want to share and whatnot.
Right, and like I'll even tell you, because on my YouTube channel I get some like insights and demographics as to my own audience. Like it'll tell me the average age, or where like every country that tunes in, where they're from, and like what state, even in the United States, and like what people searched in YouTube to find my channel. And that gives me a better idea of who my audience is, so that I can better create vlogs and videos that might resonate with them, that might empower them, that might motivate them. Like, that's how I use that data. And, you know, an audience member could be like, you're totally tracking me. Well, I'm not tracking you. That data is just being provided to me by YouTube. But to me, I just find it helpful, and it empowers me to better connect with my audience, and that's how I use it.
So, I mean, yeah. So, for example, if we're looking at, you know, the statistics, the analytics of people who are watching it, and we suddenly realize, wow, for whatever reason, man, a huge chunk of our viewers are on the East Coast, but we're doing the show at 8 p.m. That means they have to watch it at 11 p.m. to midnight. Maybe that's not super convenient to them. Maybe we need to switch our time so that our big viewer base is more, you know, is more accessible. Or if we determine the age, you know, like, we're not targeting teenagers with this show, but if for some reason it was like, man, all the kids are talking about that Sharespark TV, digital literacy, then like, okay, cool, like let's figure out that audience a little bit. So it's not unlike, you know, you stay at a hotel, they send you a survey, you give your feedback, and then they help, you know, serve you better the next time.
And I think what digital media has brought about also is a new respect, I guess, and admiration for being transparent and transparency and authenticity. And I feel like I want to say that's how most creators who have access to this kind of data, it's really to be able to connect with consumers, customers, viewers, followers, subscribers in more meaningful ways. That's what I think.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's you know, there's the two sides of it. There's you as the ad person who's like, I need this information to make a profit, and there's people as the consumer who are just like, I just want to see my stuff. I don't want to see the ads everywhere. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. Then ignore the ads, and you don't have to. You don't have to.
And I think
you can, but that's getting into personal preference. The point is when you hear like, oh my God, Facebook is tracking everything I do. Yes. One, you know, there's a conscious thing that needs to be aware of what you're putting out on social media, what you're not putting out on social media, and what you're sending out digitally, what you're not. But there's also the idea of like, okay, well, what is the real consequence? When I walk into the bank, I'm on their security camera. Someone's watching me.
Right, exactly.
But, okay, that's fine. Like, they're probably not doing anything crazy with that footage. It's probably just going to be there. Hopefully never reviewed, because there's no need to, and then it gets recorded over or erased or something at some point. And that's sort of it. And it doesn't really affect me in any way other than, like, hey, the bank's probably less likely to be robbed. So this is kind of the same thing. It's like you could participate in the ads, you could not. They're tracking your habits, but, like, they don't know, you know, they don't know your PIN number or your bank account info or anything like that.
And see, I think this is where the savviness really like differentiates our behavior, I feel like, versus other people who are not as savvy with digital media. Because like I know they've done studies on this on heat maps for people's eyes and where they land on the page. Like, because if you were to do it for me, like in Gmail, you know, there's ads that kind of fold into your email, and my eyes completely glaze over them.
Yeah,
like,
I don't even know what they are.
I don't even notice them at all. But I've heard testimonials and heard from other people like, oh yeah, I was trying to check my email and I clicked on an ad, and I'm like, it just was so clearly an ad. I don't understand like how you did not see that. And like the same with Facebook. I know when it's a sponsored ad. And like sometimes it's fine. Like I don't mind if it's a BuzzFeed video, that's a sponsored video, but I mean,
still
they
watch
also
say it's sponsored too on the under it.
But
But that's no different than 10 or 15 or more years ago. You get a phone call and it's someone going like, "There's a problem with your credit card. We need your bank account information." And then you always hear people going like, "Oh, okay, my number is," and you're like, "Yeah." I mean, there's always
so that's that savviness.
There's always that, and there's always that type of savviness, and always that need for that thing, and like Facebook can use its tracking to benefit you, like you said. And you brought up a really good point on our very first show last week, which was during the presidential election last year of 2016. Everybody sort of, sometimes on purpose, often accidentally created their own echo chambers. Where they were living in these bubbles that just reinforced whatever their opinion and their worldview was, and it was hard to understand that there were other ones over here. And a big part of that was, when I log into Facebook, like, I'm seeing the facts that back up my point of view.
Of course.
And if you have a totally different point of view, you're seeing the facts that back up your point of view. What is that?
And see, I don't know, that scares me. I feel like there really should be, like, not only internet 101, like, you need to know how to, like, I feel like there should be a class before you're allowed to go on the internet. It's the same with Facebook, because that is the number one social media platform. There are over 1 billion people on it. People all over the world, ages, industries, backgrounds, whatever. Everyone's on Facebook. But I feel like people don't understand just kind of like the basics of Facebook. If you were to disable your cookies in your browser, Facebook just does not load at all. It just is broken. You can't even, there's nothing. There's just nothing. And another thing is that everyone's feeds are completely 100% customized to your behavior on Facebook. So I can guarantee that even though, you know, we're both millennials, we're like the same age, we like all the same things, I'm willing to bet that our feeds are different.
And speaking of, I'll take you up on that bet, but I do want to point out here,
we got some comments?
We got some comments from Mike Alvarez.
All right. What's up, Mike Alvarez?
Who's saying the weirdest part, because this ties into exactly where you're going, the weirdest part is the algorithm of words. I remember when Facebook started tracing over your searches and Facebook did ads towards it, I had ended a relationship and immediately was getting ads for singleness and dealing with grief. Oh my gosh. Yes. Wow. Because you changed your status. They've done it for a while and it gets more concerning. I get the purpose. It just feels weird that it's so overly encompassing. And that does tie into exactly what we're talking about. And And then he brings up the point of what about big cable companies being able to sell your info, people profiting off your info. And what that comes down to is Facebook is free.
Yeah.
They are not the product. You are the product of Facebook. It's getting your eyeballs on advertisers, and if you're agreeing to use that platform, you're agreeing to be their product. You get the benefit of all their technology. You get the benefit of connecting and sharing with all your friends and family and whoever. But yeah, you're the product of Facebook. And but understanding that and understanding how to navigate that and understanding too that like, well, it's not the end of the world. It might change what I share. It might change my habits a little bit, but it's not close, throw, go live in cabin in woods. Like there's a middle ground. And so what you were talking about and kind of what Mike was bringing up was like, changing your relationship status changes what you see in your feed. You and I are super similar, but there's a few key differences. So if we look at our feeds, we're going to see different things. When people were logging at the election, they were seeing totally different things. So you made a bet a minute ago. Yeah. And I kind of want to take you up on this bet.
All right, let's do it.
So what was your bet?
So I was betting that obviously our news feeds are going to be different because
we're different people.
Yes, exactly. So let's go into Facebook searches. Okay, let's search for something and see what populates.
Okay, and see if we get the
same things.
Let's do this. Can we do it on Google and Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do Google first.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's hop over to Google and search up something kind of like innocuous and just bland.
What?
Let's search for Nickelback.
Oh my god. Okay,
go. I'm so sorry. Okay.
Do you like them? You did, huh?
No. I'm sorry.
Were you one of those Nickelback haters?
No, I liked a lot of bad music, but they were not one of them. I'm sorry. I hope I'm not alienating half the people watching who are just like, what? It's cool. We can have different opinions.
Nickelback's watching.
But okay, it might be hard to see
we're going to describe it to you.
Two-person thing. Our screens look identical.
Yes, we have the same number of search results.
Same number of search results.
Same loaded.
I mean, maybe if you turn them here, you might be able to see it on screen just a little bit. You can at least see some of the basics. Turn my brightness down. This is the screens look exactly the same, and the search results are basically exactly the same. So, is your first search result Nickelback.com?
Yes.
It's a website that is not
Twitter.
marked purple. And then Nickelback on Twitter. Is the search on the bottom of your page Instagram at Nickelback?
Yep.
Yeah. And your suggested searches, Nickelback 2017, Nickelback new song, Nickelback Why God Why.
See, and this is, oh my god, this is so fascinating.
So this is identical. There's no difference between what we just got going in Google.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to look up Nickelback on Facebook. But what's happening here? I hope that's
I don't see it.
Okay, good. Sorry, that was freaking out. My screen is glitching with the feed. Let's do a Facebook search.
Mike is saying you were the guy who threw a rock at the Nickelback show.
That would mean I was at a Nickelback show. False. Anyway, we're hopping on. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, Nickelback. What if?
That's what I said. What if they're watching?
What if Chad from Nickelback is like, I love digital media. Look at these guys, and he's like, why? What did I do?
Totally not going to come on our show now.
I'm sorry.
Let's search.
I could be more literate.
Let's do something like food.
Okay, food related. Let's search up Let's search up sandwich.
Okay.
I love sandwiches. They're my favorite food.
Typing it in the Facebook search bar.
Yeah. Here, I can already see our entire...
we're different here.
Things are totally different.
Places. The first thing that shows up are places. What is your place?
So the top of my search results is places. The first place is the sandwich spot in Palm Springs, and it's their eating reviews, their restaurant link, their address, their hours, and which one of my friends ate there. It's a restaurant in Palm Springs.
The listing that I get is Earl Sandwich in downtown Disney in Anaheim.
So have you been to Earl Sandwich?
Yeah.
And I've been to Sandwich Spot, not for a while.
And a lot of my friends have been to Earl Sandwich.
Yeah, one of my friends was at Sandwich Spot.
There you go. See? There you go.
And you have 3 results under your places, and I only have 1.
Weird. Yeah, I get the Sandwich Spot too.
But it's down, hidden.
It is.
I get Sandwich Spot, I get TKB Deli, I get Sandwich Brothers of Wisconsin.
Okay,
Why?
Go
Sorry.
to the... Oh, this is awesome. Go to the marketplace. Or your next...
My next thingy.
Yeah.
Oh no, digital literacy in action here. A marketplace. Okay, so this is things people are selling on Facebook. What are you being sold?
I'm being sold a sandwich.
You're being sold a sandwich. Someone is selling a
$9 from Mission Viejo. Ian Velasquez right now is selling me a sandwich.
I have one item in my marketplace. It's a breakfast sandwich maker being sold for $19.29, which is about 90 minutes away from
Oh my god,
here.
it's straight up a sandwich. That looks pretty good. It looks pretty good.
But by the time you get it, it's not going to be that good.
Yeah.
The avocado's going to be all brown and stuff. So that's what I get in my search results is a sandwich maker being sold in a small town an hour and a half away, and you get a sandwich.
Mission Viejo. The next thing is a listing from Long Beach, and the next thing is a listing from Compton.
I have nothing else. I have just a sandwich maker.
That's so funny.
And then my next section is videos.
My next section's pages.
So our pages don't even go. I have a video about how to make a Spanish omelet. I have a video about a fat monk sandwich, which has a whole
I don't even
crab
have
inside of it.
videos, dude. Like, that's not even on here.
So the next similar thing we have is pages.
Pages. All right,
Okay.
so what's your first page?
It is a band called Sandwich. I think they are European.
Okay, my first page that pops up is Torrance Bakery. Shout out Torrance Bakery. You guys are my favorite. I miss your sandwiches. Oh,
So you know what that is. I don't know what the sandwich band is.
I seriously pay their rent. I'm not even kidding. I used to go there every day for lunch.
I've never heard of the band Sandwich. And my second result is a clothing brand named Sandwich, which I've never worn or shopped at. I have no connection at all to any of these things.
My second thing is the band.
Sandwich? The
Yeah.
same one as I have?
Yeah.
Weird. But are you familiar with them? Like,
Okay, let's do posts from friends.
well, we have different friends.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Do you have
'Cause
groups?
You're listed as one of my people.
Yeah, I show up complaining about a sandwich because I like sandwiches. Peanut butter pickles.
And then articles.
Nope, I have groups.
See? It's so...
And then I have articles.
Okay, I have groups after that.
What are your articles? Are they
My
the same?
articles are 9 sandwiches that Brits don't realize are actually kind of weird.
I have that same. I think we have the exact same. Oh no, we have 2 articles are the same, and the third one I have sandwich woman arrested for DUI. I don't know what that even means. And yours
Okay.
is a totally different story.
So the point.
Sorry, this could go on because this is getting hilarious to me.
The point is that Facebook's totally different. Google's the same. Now, why?
Because
Let's talk about that.
I mean, Google doesn't not track you.
Google doesn't not track you.
Google
English teacher double negative.
Yeah, Google. I mean, Google is known for collecting a bit of data on their users.
Yeah, but why? Okay, so does Facebook. Now, why is it that Google was exactly the same, but Facebook was different?
So think of. Well, I don't like. Let's think. Let's
I know
actually
it.
think
I
about
have an
this.
answer for this.
You have the answer.
I have the answer, but I want to know what you think.
Okay, so here's what I think. I think because Google exists as a search engine, so we searched for a band, so Google gave us the most relevant things to the search term, and it tried to connect it to our location because it knew where we are, so if there's a show nearby, hey, buy a ticket. But otherwise, here's the information you were looking for. Facebook is tailored to me as an individual. It knows my tastes, it knows my needs, it knows my likes. And it was like, here's restaurants you might like because your friends like it and they're close or you've been there before.
100%. That is exactly it.
But-
because the search results that are populated for Facebook are based on what you like and what your friends like. Now, as an individual,
Yes.
and as your network. But on Google, it's a search engine, so it's like showing you, it's considering like Google ads and like where people even pay to show in the search results.
But so check this out, the benefit of this. My first result when we searched for sandwiches was the Sandwich Spot,
Yes.
which is a restaurant in Palm Springs. It's actually one of the best. So this is not an ad for Sandwich Spot, but it could be Sandwich Spot if you're watching.
Where you at?
I will put a big old Sandwich Spot sticker right here.
Yeah, I have room.
Because Sandwich Spot is it's literally one of the best sandwich restaurants out here, and I totally love it. And I completely forgot it existed right now until I saw their ad. But that's now I'm like, oh god, I need to go there because I love it.
Uh-huh.
And I want to go there, and their ad worked on me, but then I get a really good sandwich that I forgot was local.
And do you feel like your privacy was invaded?
No, not at all. I don't feel my privacy was invaded. There's no picture of me sitting on my couch eating the sandwich. Then I would feel invaded.
But isn't it weird that Facebook populated that search result based on your behavior on Facebook and your friends?
See, No, I don't think that it's weird, because why else would you join a social network? It's the same thing we talked about last week when my students found out I had a YouTube channel, and they were like, I don't know if like all students should know you have a YouTube channel. And I was like, you guys, I put it on the internet
For it to be shared.
If I didn't want anyone to see it, I wouldn't have put it on the internet.
Right.
Like, and that's so, and that's kind of what we're getting into here. So,
yes.
what we're coming at. So our big thing at the top of the show, our lesson plan for the evening,
yes.
was have your cake and eat it too. So you're somebody who values your privacy. I 100% value my privacy. I've had the impulse of like, I just want to disconnect from everything. I'm going to go get a freaking burner dumb phone and just like go live on a ranch with a chicken or something and like just disconnect from everything.
I've had those days.
You have those days. That's not probably the most practical, at least for me. And probably for a lot of people, period. That might be like a fantasy. The fantasy there is the result of a lack of understanding and practical usage of these tools and technology.
Right. See, but then I'm just very careful on voicing out on this because I know that I do the opposite. Like I put out everything out there. There's stuff. I share my vulnerabilities. I share things that people would normally be very hesitant and scared of sharing. And,
right.
But what I have seen, okay, and this is just completely speaking from my experience, the more I share about how I feel, my fears and my journey, both the ups and the downs, it resonates with people and it empowers me. And I've never had that in any other situation ever. Like not even at work, not even like, just not in any other normal life situation. I haven't had the empowerment that I've felt being able to connect with people that I don't know. And I know that's weird, but there's just, I don't know.
Dude, how did you and I meet?
I know. That's why I always say tell that to your kids, because this is a product of digital literacy.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
1000%. That's how we met. We met because you put a YouTube video out. And I never comment on YouTube videos, but because you didn't put out a video where you're sitting stiff in front of the camera going like, hello, I would like to talk to you about my skateboard. You were like, here's me in my apartment, like eagerly awaiting the arrival of my skateboard. And I was like, this is I'm on board with this.
Right.
And I want that skateboard. And I was like, I never leave comments, but like this person seems very open and accessible. So I'm going to go like, hey, when I saw you talking about digital literacy, that's when I was like, hey, this is really cool that you're talking about this. It's important to me. Like, just want to let you know,
and the rest is
it's a great
history.
thing. And then there was a connection there. I wouldn't have done that if you weren't open with sharing your life, because I wouldn't have felt that you're approachable. Just like if someone's at a party and they're like in the corner.
Right. And see, that's the thing. That's knowing how to be, like, what are the implications of having a presence on digital media and the internet?
Yeah. You do not need to go, hey guys, I signed up for Twitter, so here's my social security number. Like,
yes, exactly. And
no.
there are things like, I don't share everything. Yes, I share vulnerable moments and moments where I'm crying and stuff like that, but it's not like I'm sharing like my address or my phone number even. It's like if you want to contact me, you got social media, and I put that all out there because those are the channels that I want people to know about. And I'm an editor, so I edit things that are just not appropriate for being on there, or I don't want people to see. I mean, I'm still really careful about it, but also I just have felt that the more I've shared, the more not only have I been able to get a better sense of the world and how I can contribute to it, but a better sense of people.
Right. And so as we kind of get into the wrapping up phase here.
Yeah.
What is the unique perspective? Like, anybody could be talking about this stuff. Why does it matter so much to you? And why does it matter so much to us? And why should anyone even listen?
What's the show?
To you and I, yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, I mean, to us, we feel, okay, I'll speak for myself, okay? I feel that digital media is going to continue to evolve. I mean, now... There was a world where none of us had this, and now there's not. Like, how
many? That was 10 years ago.
Who does not have this? That was only 10 years ago. Okay, now we got pocket-sized drones. And that might be scary, but for me, what I do when I see a new feature or new update or new piece of digital technology, I look at it now like, how can I use this to better share my story and to connect with people, to help them do something or inspire them to do something positive and productive. That is my goal. Like, that's what I see. And yeah.
Well, yeah. So, yeah.
So, yeah.
And, but that's the... We're talking about how my high school students used to always end their speeches when I taught English, and they'd give these epic speeches about like human rights and equality, and they'd be like, "This is why humans are equal, and this is what I believe in," and you're just like, "Oh my god!" And they're like, "So yeah," and like that's the worst ending you could have for your.
I totally just did it.
You totally just did it, but that's the same reason. Because it's so funny, like the reason that I started wanting to share my own stuff separately, like before we had met, was I have this impulse of like, dear God, one day I'm gonna die, and that's scary. And I want to, like, no matter what you're doing, your social media, your digital, whatever, time is your most valuable resource.
Yes.
1000% time is your most valuable resource. And how do you utilize that time effectively and productively and in a valuable way? And that's a different thing for everybody. And for me, what it meant was I love creating, period. And I love creating digital media. That's. I mean, I started with analog media as a kid, and then when digital media, as I grew up with it, and like as we grew up with it, it became a huge part of my life. And that's what I want to share with other people, and that's the fingerprint and the imprint that I want to leave when my time does run out, and that will exist for some period of time beyond me, and have the ability to, you can go watch Steve Jobs' 2005 Stanford commencement speech anytime you want. He's been dead for 6 years, and you can watch that from 12 years ago and be just as impacted, just as influenced, just as motivated by that message that somebody conveyed who's no longer here to convey any more messages.
Right.
And that's, and that was streamed online, and that's how I saw it, and that's how it became iconic. And
right.
That's just, a tiny little example, but there's this power.
Digital media has allowed you to do that.
Yes, digital media has allowed me to literally have a career.
Same here.
To share with other people, to exist in a world, to find that there's a world in the world where I actually do fit in.
Yes.
Because I grew up in a physical location where I did not fit in at
Same here.
all.
Same here.
And then suddenly I can find that there's other dorks out in the world that I fit in with. And then this is great. And that, I mean, that's like, that right there is this. I that's priceless. I will let Facebook try to sell me a pair of shoes for that.
Yeah, happily.
I don't. Yeah,
happily. And the thing is, but it really you have to understand. You have to understand it. You have to understand
that because it goes back to a conversation I had with, and I may have mentioned this on our first show because it's my favorite example of
You didn't.
I didn't.
No,
I did.
You did not.
Okay.
Go.
I hope we're talking about the same thing. But I was having a conversation with my mom a few months ago who, so the fact that I said I have a mom right now on the internet, she might, obviously she'll never see this. But the fact that I mentioned it, she's going to be like, dear God, the Russians are coming. They know I'm out there. But there was a conversation earlier this year. They had moved into a new house. It's beautiful. I forget why, but they needed new thermostats, and I was like, oh, you know what? You should get one of those smart thermostats. They do a ton of traveling. I was like, you can adjust your stuff while you're gone. You can monitor your rooms. You can, they're just really neat. They're not even that expensive. And she was like, we don't want to get hacked. And I was like, we're talking about a thermostat. Is someone going to go in and up your electric bill? That was the point where I was like, we've gone beyond the point of illiteracy to the point of insanity. And
but she just doesn't know, though.
But I mean, that's illiteracy. It's an ignorance. It's the same thing as when you walk into I don't know, if you walk into a business and you can't read any of the signs and everything says, oh, this costs $20, and you're like, I can't read this. How much does it cost? And the sales guy says $40, and you're like, all right. Because you don't understand, so now you get duped, and that's the same thing. Really, you're
right. And what I feel like people do is that they're just so overwhelmed and so scared of it that they just
they
do not sign up for Facebook. They don't want nothing to do with it.
It's not the answer. Digital media literacy doesn't mean signing up for Facebook. It doesn't mean starting a YouTube channel. It means understanding all of these insane digital tools, all of these things that you get to have, and how to use them. It means, no, I'm not going to have a drone shot in every video I make, but like, man, sometimes like there's just a beautiful landscape, or I need to tell my story in a specific way, and I need to grab this tool to do that.
Yes.
It means that sometimes, like, man, I live in a place where I can't really connect with people that I need to connect with, so I'm going to go on here and I'm going to connect with someone far away that, you know, understands the points I'm trying to make in a specific way and can offer a different insight.
So Mike just left another comment, or
Mike.
a question actually, and I think it's a good way for us to end. And his question is privacy possible in a future world? And as technology continues, is it going to be something we can hold on to? And this is the question that stumps me, because of the fact that, like, I need to think about this. I need to understand, I need to think about, like, what privacy is to me, because I say it all the time. Like, I put a lot of things that people would consider, like, that should be private, and I'm like, I put it out there, and I've seen only beneficial things happen. It hasn't been used against me. It hasn't, I mean, I get negative comments, but, you know, you get criticism and negative comments and haters in real life. Like,
I get that, like, walking down the street.
Exactly. So to me, it's just like, I've only seen more potential and more opportunity by sharing that. So I feel like I don't even know how to answer that question. You know, like, I just don't feel like I'm equipped to answer that question.
Well, I think, okay, so we're going into the... I know how to answer that question in a possibly unsatisfying manner.
Tune in next time.
Not next week. No, it's not. It is the $1 million question. But what it is it highlights the importance of the literacy component. Because what that means is privacy. So
yes. There you go.
Even between us, your definition of what you want in terms of privacy is different from what I want in terms of privacy. Very different from what my parents want. Very different from what my high school students want in terms of privacy, or even aware of in terms of privacy. And so what you have to do is you have to be reflective and go like, okay, what are my limits? What are my boundaries? What, for me, which is going, it's just like everyone has their own definition of success. Like, everyone has their own definition of privacy and what that means.
Yes.
And the literacy comes in when you go, okay, this is what I want. How can I use these tools to achieve that? Maybe that's going to limit the way that I use them. Maybe it's going to expand the way that I use them. But that's the ultimate goal. And what it is going into the future, this future world where, like, everything is connected, and how do you maintain your privacy? That literacy is literally the light on the torch that you're holding as you're going into the belly of the beast and into the darkness. And that's going to be the thing that, like, guides you down that path. And people who don't have that are just going to be just sort of...
The more digitally literate you are, the more that you can protect your definition of privacy. Because you'll know, like...
It's like, that was like, I need the air horn. Ba, 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 ba.
Tweet it. Because then you'll know, like, why, like, how you can share certain things and whether you would want to or not. You know, like, what the implications of that. But if you don't know, then you're just going to be like, privacy, nothing. You know, and, like, I just don't want to be on anything. But that's not the answer.
And then you go sit in your cabin in the woods and some weirdo shows up with their telephoto lens on a camera and still, like...
Can still... Yeah, but then you're just not participating in...
There's no way to guarantee...
In this. Like, this is, like...
The benefits far outweigh the cons, but it's the responsible usage and the knowledgeable, literate usage that
we are
kind of makes everything go.
Sharespark, you guys, and try to...
And that's the goal, and that's why we did the show today. So I guess to wrap up, to explain why we did the show today was because you mentioned that the privacy concerns are the number one reason why someone won't be Sharesparked. And what that means is people might want to create something, they might want to put themselves out there, they might want to explore something.
Or they don't even, that's not even a might in their head.
Or, they're not even aware they can.
Yeah, they are so, like, I don't want anything out there at all.
And so having the privacy discussion and sort of helping to illuminate it a little bit might either make people feel more comfortable with it or, like, incept the idea into their brain of, like, okay, so maybe I could actually be somebody who creates something. And that's a huge shift when you go from consumer to creator.
Yes.
And that was like
the mission of Sharespark, seriously, was to help people go from digital media consumers to digital media creators. Because I feel like when you're a creator, you're digitally literate. You understand... You just, I don't know, like, you contribute to the media that other people are consuming. You're just on the other side of it, but I don't know.
It's an entirely different point of view. So And that's the thing you and I, however we both ended up in the place, that's the thing that you and I both feel hugely passionate about.
And that's why we're doing this, exactly.
That's why we're here.
So, all right, to wrap it up, if you guys have, like, if you're watching the replay, tell us what you think. Tell us about, because I know this privacy is such an important concern and issue, and it's valid, and I respect it, and I want to address it. Even though I'm, people might consider me someone who's very public with my life and my information, I want to understand where someone who is very private is coming from, and how to help you become more digitally literate so that you can also benefit from the opportunities and potential of being a digital media consumer and creator, or digitally literate one, versus someone who isn't. But in order to get there, I need to understand where you guys are. So What are your concerns? What do you have questions on? Like, how can we better serve you and explain how you can understand how to use all of this stuff?
Yeah, and on Thursday's show, we're going to dive into the idea of balancing your digital life and your...
Definitely.
And that idea of balance. Because it doesn't mean being overwhelmed, like, oh my God, I got social media everywhere. Like,
we're not saying that, to be a digital consumer or to be digitally literate, now you have to sign up for every single platform and start a YouTube channel and just never put any of this stuff down.
It's just understanding how to use the tools to achieve your goals that you want, that your goals that you've actually been able to develop.
Yeah.
And describe.
Yeah.
Right.
How you feeling?
I feel pretty good. I feel pretty pumped.
Yeah, you're pumped?
I feel pretty Sharesparked.
Well, it's our third episode.
It is.
Yeah.
Third time's a charm.
Third
the first and second time we're also charming, but we're just charming people. So.
So, you guys know we're still developing the show, so leave us your comments, leave us your feedback. We want to we want the show to evolve. We want it to better serve you. If you have any questions, if there's any specific topics that you'd like for us to address, we're kind of just, it helps that I have been trying to do this for a year and a half, and it helps that Tom is a teacher who has a freaking 4-year curriculum on this stuff, that we're just, with our powers combined, this is what we're coming up with. But just as we talked about how these companies are getting data, we need feedback from you guys to better cater the show to you guys.
We need to track every user.
Yeah.
Don't tell them we have all of their information.
So, like this video if you found it helpful. Share it with someone who might be interested in Sharespark TV and becoming more digitally literate. And tune in on Thursday for the next episode. Yeah. Same place, same time. 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And like Tom said, we're going to be talking about balance. Finding the balance.
Oh.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This is Sharespark Media. Share your story.
Spark your potential. And now, I'm going to take all my technology. You know what I'm going to do with it?
What? Go hide in the cabinet.
I'm going to hold the torch of literacy as I go into the darkness
and
of the
end
unknown.
The stream. The darkness. Bye, guys.